and I knew I could count on you. Is it reasonable to ask someone you are dating for a short time that we should be intimate before too long to understand if we like having sex together before a long-term commitment? Well, you certainly shouldn't phrase it like that, because that sounds like a business engagement and as though there are going to be lawyers and it's a boardroom, and unless that's your kink, that would not be received well. But you want somebody who wants to sleep with you. So it should go off without that level of rational explanation. I don't know how short a time you're talking, but if you're talking 3 hours, then that would be seen to be a bit much. If you're talking 3 dates, it's going to happen or it doesn't happen, you know? I mean, you could say, you know, kind of, this doesn't seem to be really going anywhere. But why would you even say that? I mean, I guess my point, Jerry, to you, especially a man who wants to date younger, would be if you are not in bed in a romantic way, you know how that would look, possibly not. So you go to dinner, and then you go to another place for drinks, and then you start kissing, and then you say, do you want to come back to my place? And so let's say she says no. All right, you really like her. You try the next night, you know, or the next date. If she says no again, then I would assume she doesn't really want to have sex, right? And if that's part of a relationship that you want, then like why go do the emotional labor, right, of explaining to her that sex is supposed to be something you guys are compatible at? If she doesn't get that, then that would be, it's like explaining to her why y'all should kiss. Don't explain to her why you should kiss. Just see if she wants to kiss, right? And if you kiss and it's good, then that's like the next stage in the, you know, little flow chart of your developing relationship. So a lot of people get into these like explanations. Like, you don't need an explanation for why you would want to have sex. You're attracted to her. If she's attracted to you, she will want to have sex. If she doesn't want to have sex when you're dating at all, I mean, at your age, Jerry, I would, like, you're not 20 years old, man, right? I mean, what would you be doing? Like, you want to have sex, right? So, like, this is the problem. So, like, people will not just say, like, we're not compatible. Yeah, but it's true. You want to be having sex, and that person doesn't, you are not compatible. You are not compatible on a pretty basic dimension called, do you want to have sex? So that's what I think, Jerry. And if you have follow-up questions, certainly feel free, because the floor is yours. You have the conch shell if this was Lord of the Flies. David says, hi, David. You have any questions? We do not want this to just be, well, I mean, Jerry and I could just chat. You know, I'm sure people like to hear. Jerry, for everybody who doesn't know, is getting back on the market, and he's asking about dating. Anyway, anybody have any other questions? And David here, you should join the secret group. You seem to be a frequent flyer here, so you should definitely join. But yeah, the point, Jerry, would be to go at it more emotionally, more romantically. You know, you are in the secret group. I don't think you're in the secret group. Maybe you are, and I don't remember, but you'd have a little badge, David. If you should join the secret, you're not in it, because I would see a little badge on you. Like for Jerry does have a badge, but Jerry, you're not talking in there. Anyway, point is, Jerry, you don't need to explain your sex drive to anybody. Don't need to explain why you want to have sex. Think about it in the inverse, Jerry. Think about how absurd you would find it if a woman said, do I have to explain, like, should I explain to the guy that I'm dating that, you know, being romantic is part of a relationship? No, if he is the right guy, then he is going to already be being romantic. So if she's the right woman for you, she will already be being sexual. You are in the secret group. Well, you should engage more in there, Jerry, because you're not a big talker in there. You should. You got to get your money's worth, man. It's $4.99 a month, you know. Even though that's super cheap, you should still be talking. 24 people watching. Any more questions from the peanut gallery? I do not know. I don't see any anymore. Are you yet dating, Jerry? I feel like you're not yet dating, but I don't remember. I think you're about to be dating, or you were dating. No, you weren't dating yet. You're gonna be dating, I think, but you could clarify. 25 people watching. You could ask all of your dating and intimacy and relationship and parenting and person and disorder related questions, anything that has to do with the practice of clinical psychology, because I am a clinical psychologist in private practice. 28 people watching. I will stay here a couple more minutes. You are dating. All right, Jerry. Well, get rid of the one that you're dating. If you got to convince somebody that y'all should have sex, that's not the right woman. No way, no how. Nope, nope, nope. That's what I say, Jerry. Nope, nope, nope. You want to be with somebody where there's a big enough attraction that you don't have to explain that. If you got to explain why y'all should have sex, then it's not a good relationship. Okay. Aaron says, no question, just a compliment from Canada. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. Insightful. Thank you, Aaron. Thanks very much for following. Mark here says, in my long-term marriage, my questions about sex are met by, I don't know. Stop questioning her, Mark. Have you learned nothing from me? Stop questioning her. She's a low libido woman. She feels awkward. She was raised that sex is a bad thing. So if she's low libido and she's, let's say, post her 40s, in her 40s or post, she probably has a very low libido. She never thinks about sex. So then you're saying things like, what are your fantasies? And she's like, I don't even know what that means. Like, are there people who go around with fantasies? Like what? Like to have sex? Of course I could have sex. It's not a fantasy. It's just something we do that I don't really particularly like. That's what she thinks when you ask. Because she doesn't have a fantasy. 24% of women don't have a fantasy. And 100% of low libido women don't have a fantasy. So she doesn't have a fantasy. So I don't know what else you're asking her about. But I would say stop asking. Just say your stuff. Say what you think. Say what you need. Say what you're interested in. She doesn't have any answers for you, Mark. I talk about people like, this is like the guys that send their wives my podcast. Their wife is like, I don't want to hear that. They keep sending them. Don't keep sending my podcast. Somebody just has to say one time that they don't like something. And she does not like these questions. So you're trying to get her buy-in. Like it's like, what's the definition of insanity, Mark? And this is with tough love, right? And you could give me the details of your situation if you join the group and whatever. But the point is, I am positive that what you're trying to get with asking her all these questions is buy-in or engagement. Definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different response. She tells you she doesn't have fantasies. She tells you she doesn't have preferences. She tells you she doesn't know what she likes. Believe her. Believe her. If she's a low libido woman, she doesn't like any of it, really. You know, if she's got to do it, then she likes whatever y'all do. You know? This would be like, Mark, you know when little kids follow you around? They're like, Daddy, what's your favorite fighter plane? It's like, I don't fucking know, you know? All right, what's your favorite color to a grown-up? All right, you could do that one. And then they ask you something like other, what's your favorite number? What's my favorite number? I'm a grown-up. I don't have a damn favorite number. You could make some shit up, but you don't want your wife to be lying to you, you know, anyway. So if somebody asks her favorite color, she's going to make some shit up. Maybe she has one. Certainly doesn't have a favorite number as a grown woman, but if a child asks her, she's going to make it up. But do you want her to make up some bullshit fantasy? You want her to Google what is a woman's sexual fantasy and feed you that? No, you don't want that. You want honesty and empathy. So where you go wrong, Mark, if you are a workhorse, and you're saying, yes, you are right by things that I'm saying. If you are a workhorse and you feel guilty about your own desire, what you're trying to do is the following. You have this idea that if you can get her to say she has a fantasy, that will unlock the beast. And finally, you will be able to hack your wife's sexuality. Why don't we just believe your wife that she's low libido and take what she does, if she does anything. If she does nothing, y'all should be in counseling, right? But if she is, like many women, having sex with you in a fairly standard, boring way, but you know she doesn't want to be there anyway, and she's giving you something, she isn't acting like it's disgusting, she isn't lying there like an inert substance or like somebody who's been drugged, and she's trying in some way, some small way to get into it, then consider that to be a gift, right? Now, if she is saying, ew, gross, you're disgusting, why do you still want that? You're a sex maniac, in which case I don't think you would still be asking about her fantasies. But if she is saying those things, then y'all should be in couples counseling. But if it's the idea that men have where they're going to like somehow like unleash the beast, That stuff's out of porn. That's like when women say, if we just have one more 3-hour discussion about emotions, I'm finally going to make him into an emotionally aware man. No, you're not. You're just going to harangue the shit out of him to the point that he doesn't want to talk to you at all. And that is the sexual equivalent of what may happen with your wife, Mark. Because she doesn't want to answer any goddamn questions about her fantasies because she didn't have one ever. She's still not going to have one now. And she's done. She's done listening to it. Refer to, Mark, my podcast, Your Wife Doesn't Care If Your Sex Life Isn't Mind-Blowing. That one could be a real eye-opener for you. And you should also join the secret group to tell me more about the specifics. If you do join and then post a thread with what's going on in your life. And then people comment, including myself. And I will, of course, remember that you had been here. But I hope that that is a different perspective, Mark, that really can maybe help you because you sound like a lot of the guys that I work with, And if you find yourself struggling, all right, good, Mark. I will see you in there. I've seen your name, so maybe you have been in there before, or maybe you're just a long-term follower. Either way, thank you. I hope that was useful. But I work with so many guys, macro level now, bringing this out, that think that they just have to, these are the preoccupied attachment workhorse guys. They think they just have to work harder, and then they can figure out their wife, and their wife is literally telling them the truth. I don't think about sex. I don't have fantasies. I don't really value that. I will do it for you. I love you, but I don't want you to perseverate on this because you don't have a favorite reality TV show, do you, Mark? Probably not. That's how she feels about sex. DJ says, my wife can't separate our daughter's bad behavior from our relation. Oh, you were in the group. Yeah, join again, Mark, to update me in there. My wife can't separate our daughter's bad behavior, spelled the British way, from our relationship, and we haven't slept together in 2 years because of it. Whoa, that may be beyond the purview of this. Another fellow who should join the secret group. I don't really understand what you mean, but that really seems like a couples counseling kind of issue. I cannot imagine what you mean. I don't even know how old these girls are. If they're teenagers, my sympathies, my condolences. If they are younger, that would be highly unusual. But I don't know. You got to get more. I need more details on that. David Soares said, love your podcast and great advice. Your personality also makes it easier to listen. Thanks. Well, funny story about you, David. Your last name is the word in singular that my son, who's 10, uses as his first Wordle word. It's apparently soar, spelled like that, is a word. And it's a word that has the biggest chance of doing well at Wordle. So if you're not using a version of your own last name as your first Wordle word, then you are missing out. And I pointed to your name to my son because that's his Wordle word. So he knows that at least one person has a surname that is that. So I thought you would like that story. I hope you did like it. And you could certainly ask any questions you have that are relevant, and my son's Wordle is not relevant, but I think it's a funny story. David, I knew you would have a question eventually, was like Mark's, except I find out later she's been masturbating to porn and has fantasies when she is doing this. Well, then she just was not willing to tell you. I have a podcast on how to be a guy who gets more open sexual feedback. If you are rejection sensitive, she's not going to tell you. Because women don't masturbate about the guy that they're already with. That's like having chocolate ice cream and fantasizing about chocolate ice cream. You're not going to fantasize about you having chocolate ice cream. What's the fantasy, So, it's like a thing, and women can think about whatever they want to get off, and I have plenty of podcasts about that. Can't thought police. But, and you say, which I think is awesome, I want her to tell me when she does. Well, that's where you get a little bit controlling there. What you need to do is focus on, you got to stay on brand there. You want to have a good sex life with your wife. If for some reason she's masturbating to porn and y'all still have a good sex life, cool, let her do it, right? Because anything helps, It's the exact opposite of men. Men who are high libido with low libido wives, I'm like, don't even look at porn even one time. You don't need to be primed and fluffed. That'll bring you guys further away from each other on the spectrum of sexuality. Now, your wife probably still lower libido than you. So if she looks at porn, then she is more like you, right? She's getting closer to you. Problem is, though, if she does masturbate to porn and then she's done, if she's done for the day, that's bad. So you could say, listen, have at it, do whatever you want. I just, don't want it to detract from our sex life. And if literally every afternoon or whatever, she's like masturbating to porn and then she's too tired when you get home, then you're within your rights, of course, to send her my article. If your sex life is anything less than great, masturbation isn't helping anything. And that's the title. Because nobody should be using masturbation within a relationship to increase distance with the partner. That's the truth. So, you guys may want to talk to Heather. She's our sexologist. We have couples counselors. But anyway, the point is that that could be good, like if she's ready for round 2, but there's very few women that are older that are going to be ready for round 2 because they just spend all day, masturbating to porn. In all likelihood, she's just doing it as a mental escape, and she doesn't realize that then she's done and that she's less likely to want sex with you. That you got to stay on brand. You want good sex with your wife. If she's doing stuff that doesn't impact it, cool, have at it. But if she's doing stuff that does, then that starts to impact you. It would be like your wife shouldn't police what you eat during the day, right? Unless you eat so much that you can't eat at dinner, and then that sucks, right? Because you can't eat with the family. So, if it doesn't impact you, let it go. And don't be up her ass to tell you about what she uses and thinks about and all that. You ask once, if she says nothing, let it go. Shoria says, where does a feet kink originate from? Same as all kinks, fetishes are born in childhood. So if you see somebody walking around with nice feet or something, then it starts, There's people who have all sorts of kinks and they all originate in childhood. Because children are sexual entities, that is when things turn on in their brains. And whatever is like a very, kind of important, climactic, interesting thing frequently develops into a kink later on. But I don't, that's how they all arise, not just feet or anything. Anyway, thanks you guys for participating. This was a good, nice one. And I guess I will go. But everybody should join my secret group, especially y'all that got feedback from me, because obviously you need to interact. Not need to, but it would be nice for you to interact and get other people's feedback on your issues. And I'll talk to everybody soon. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye. Hi, Richie. Bye, Richie.